or how do you feel riding with the likes of Zach Purton and Joe Moreira?
Um, it's obviously, it's a bit of a feel good moment for myself. That's the way I look at it, because you're obviously riding against world renowned jockeys, and they're world renowned for a very good.
Welcome to another edition of In the Box Seat with Warren Lenferner and Andrew Harrison. Well, we're very grumpy today, but we'll touch on that in a moment because we're going to go straight to our guest who's joining us digitally all the way from Hong Kong on the 11th floor. It is the 11th floor, is it?
Yeah, that's where I am at the moment.
11th floor in his apartment block in Hong Kong. None other than our good friend and colleague, because we're all in the racing industry, Luke Ferarris. Before we get to Luke, let's just quickly greet Andrew. How are you? I see you had a fight with a weed eater.
Yeah, biannual shearing, yeah.
Biannual shearing, okay. Well, we've got to change our names, I'm told. Adam Kethrow phoned me, loves our podcasts. He said, my new name is Bushy, haired, curly friend, and your new name is Baldy. We're going opposite.
Well, not a problem. I don't mind, but I won't go bald.
Okay.
I've still got a bit of thatch.
Still got a bit of thatch, indeed. It's nice to have you with us all the way from Pietermaritzburg, Ashburton this morning.
No, the boys were happy.
Everybody happy.
Everybody's happy.
Good. That's the most important thing. People happy. That's very happy.
No, the horses were happy.
Okay. Now let's greet and welcome our very special friend and guest, Luke Ferarris, all the way, as I said, from Hong Kong. Luke, how are you?
Very good, thanks, Warren. How are you?
Yes, fantastic. All the better for Andrew and I to be able to communicate with you and to see you, and all good. You settled down nicely at home.
Yeah, it's just like my second home almost. So it hasn't been too much of an adjustment, and very happy with everything going on here.
How's mom? How's dad? How's your sister?
Yeah, they're all good. Dad's season hasn't started off too badly. Mom's all good. Yeah, we're all happy.
Good. And Luke, you say your second home, really. Of course, you were of course here in South Africa and going back to your mom and dad. Oh, that's home. So yeah, it would have been that much easier for you to settle in.
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot more like home with mom and dad being here, as you said, and it's just created that much, a bit more enjoyable. I think it can be a place that can get lonely if you don't have sort of anyone around you. But when them being here has made it a lot easier.
Yeah. Just there was a video Andrew posted that David posted up on the social media when Luke got back. He hadn't seen the dogs, and why I keep talking about the dogs is because we're all animal lovers, and the dogs hadn't seen Luke for 6 years, and as he walked in the door, they all went berserk. I don't know if you saw that video, but wow, that was a wonderful video. They remembered you, didn't they?
Oh yeah, for sure. The eldest one, I think we rescued when when I was still living in Hong Kong. He's about 13, 14 years old now. Then the second one we got from the Hong Kong Dog Rescue. And the third one was found in a stormwater drain up in the forest that Mom rescued.
Okay. Luke, let's take it back. The question we ask everybody, and I'm going to start with you. The answer to many might be obvious, but there's some that might not know the answer. How did it all start for you? Horse racing, how did you hear about it? How did it all start? And take us back to that first day when it all started.
Oh, I think I was born into it, really. It's fair to say it runs in the blood. My first memory of it was, I think I must have been about 7. I'd ridden a horse long before that, and I enjoyed riding, but getting an actual taste of the racing, I must have been about 7. And I think I used to wake up pretty early in the mornings, and the one morning I'd woken up extra early for whatever reason. I'm not too sure. I was very energetic as a kid, and just decided I wanted to work with Dad in the morning before school. And yeah, that's how it sort of started. I was going to work with Dad in the mornings to track work, and just absolutely loved every single part of it. And as time went on, I was going to work with him every morning until the teacher started to complain that I was falling asleep in class, and then Mom sort of got upset and tried to put a stop to it, but found my way around it and still got out there in the mornings. And then obviously went to boarding school, and it sort of felt as if the dream had died down a bit. But then as I got closer to the age of 14, 15, and I was still the smallest in my class, the lightest, and still following racing a lot. It's at the time being a boarding school, it seemed like it was a little bit far away becoming a jockey, because it wasn't it wasn't a big thing at school. But as I got close to the age of 14, 15, and started to realize that I could make this into a reality, I think it relit a fire inside of me. And yeah, as I turned age 14, I applied to the academy and got accepted, and haven't really looked back since.
Luke, you were at boarding school in Eastern Cape, somewhere in Port Elizabeth, somewhere?
Yeah, Grahamstown. It's about 45 minutes off PE.
Which school was that? Which school was that, Lukey?
St. Andrew's College.
Okay, St. Andrew's College. Your mom, you say, did she try and persuade you a little away from the racing industry? Or was your dad sort of in her camp, and was your dad sort of saying, well, go for it, and mom saying, don't go for it? Or how did that work out?
Oh, no, it wasn't so much as don't go for it. I think the main reason for boarding school was the school system in Hong Kong is a lot different to the ones in South Africa. It's very, very academic based. There's no real time for sports. It didn't really suit me. I mean, I was no academic by any means. I was much more sporty and enjoyed my sports a lot. And Hong Kong just really wasn't the right place. Everything was just so academic, and it didn't suit me. So from a young age, I wasn't really enjoying the schooling here for those obvious reasons, and just went to boarding school purely because of just wanting to have a nice school where you could play sport and you could have a lot of activities to do, and it wasn't so academic based. It was a good school, and the sporty side of it was very strong. So it suited me well. And no, but I wouldn't say either parents try to turn me away from racing. I think with a grandfather like mine and a father like mine, it would have been pretty hard to just steer me away from racing.
Now, Luke, I heard that your couch at home took a terrible beating.
I think I broke about 4 of Dad's belts. I don't know what they were. I caught 1 or 2 hidings for it, but I took the leather off the couch. We had a leather couch, and I used to wrap the belts together, sort of put the buckles through one another, and those are my stirrup irons. And then from the dressing gown, the sort of rope that goes around it, I made my reins. And whenever the races were on, I was riding my own race on the couch and beating up the couch whilst getting complaints from the neighbors. And yeah, that's sort of where it happened. I think by the age of 9, I had every single jockey style in Hong Kong, sort of to a T. I was just it's just from a young age, I've only really been so obsessed with one thing, and it's just been racing.
You know, you talk about riding the couch and beating up the couch and making all the noise, etc., and the neighbors complaining. You know, we all in racing have that same madness or sickness.
Well, you don't beat up the couch; you just blow everybody's eardrums. That's
and punch the cupboard and get beat. You know, because you're talking about your neighbors complaining. Well, I've had a few neighbors complaining too, but not from riding the couch, from screaming and shouting and beating the table with the computer form. And, you know, often the neighbors actually would think that, you know, every Saturday, it seemed like every Saturday, every half an hour.
You beat up Candice,
I was having a fight with my wife, which wasn't the case. I was having a fight with the TV. So, it's from riding the couch to riding champions, but we'll talk about that again in a moment. Let's just quickly touch on when you've left South Africa. We know that COVID is the world on its head. You had to go through a bit of a process to get from Durban, Joburg, South Africa to Hong Kong. Tell us where you went for your quarantine and how you made that with your family actually a good situation.
Yeah, so obviously the getting vaccinated in South Africa was a painful process. Getting your hands on a vaccine was nearly impossible, especially for the younger generation, you know, as they started doing their vaccines, the way in which South Africa did it. So Hong Kong obviously has a very strict quarantine protocol, and they had listed countries that were extremely high risk and all of that. And South Africa fell under the extremely high risk countries. So in order for unvaccinated Hong Kong residents to get back, you have to do a 21-day washout in a low risk country. And then a 21-day hotel confinement. So the 21-day washout we did in the Maldives, and
a shame, man.
That were you're confined to the island, but I mean, you see, I wasn't complaining as much as I was in the hotel quarantine. So that wasn't really bad. It didn't do any favors for my weight, to be honest. I think it's the only time I would have actually turned down going to the Maldives. If you gave me an option to go straight into Hong Kong and into the racing, I would have. But we had to go to the Maldives for 21 days. And because Mom was also stuck in South Africa, she came with. And the quarantine time for Hong Kong residents that were vaccinated was only 7 days. So Dad came out as well for a bit of a break. And Caroline also came out. So it was a nice bit of time to sort of spend with the family and just relax a bit before we started the new season.
Before I ask you the questions, you know, this is a public show, and it's the public's show, I should say, because we get wonderful support and wonderful viewership. And as you would have seen, you followed our podcast many times. And the viewers have sent in a couple of questions that they've asked me to ask you, asked us to ask you. But before we do that, you touched on your weight. You know, you're managing it. You're okay.
Sorry, what's that?
Yeah, just I saw there was a message that came up that the connection faltered for a second, so you probably missed me there. I just said, with regards to your weight, Lukey, you know, obviously it's a bit of an issue, but you're on top of it. You're okay.
Yeah, look, my lightest riding weight in Hong Kong at the moment is 117. You definitely have to be a lot more disciplined because we only really race twice a week, and it's a much different system to South Africa. You don't ride as much work because they have their work riders here, and they have work riders that come in from overseas. So a lot of it's left to you to sort of running, gym work. So you got to be a lot more disciplined. But in saying that, the rewards are fairly higher than South Africa, so that the motivation is always there.
Okay, let's get to the questions. Are you happy, Baldy? You happy that we get to the questions?
Go for it.
What's my nickname?
George.
George, right. Let's go. The first question to Luke is from Chuarello is the gentleman's name, and his question is, how was the feeling, or how is the feeling, or how do you feel riding with the likes of Zach Purton and Joe Moreira?
It's obviously, it's a bit of a feel good moment for myself. That's the way I look at it, because you're obviously riding against world-renowned jockeys, and they're world-renowned for a very good reason. We all one has to do is look at their CV and their major wins, and you'll see why they have a reputation like they do. But it's definitely good for my career. It ups your games a lot. You have to be alert 100% of the time. There's no shortcuts per se. You have to do your homework. You have to be sharp out the gates. You have to be decisive in the running of a race. So it definitely ups your game a lot.
Yeah, good answer. Raymond, you want to say something?
No, I was just watching a race yesterday. It was 5 furlongs at Happy Valley. You blokes go like the clappers from the start. If our blokes went that fast from 1,000 meters, they wouldn't get to the finish.
Yeah, it's very different, the racing. Yeah, I mean, I think you win and lose a lot of races out the gates. It's very different, but in saying that, it's pretty clean racing. The stiping of races here is tremendous.
Okay, Raymond Chetty is asking us to ask you, in your opinion, which is the better surface, but where do you prefer racing on South African turf courses or your Hong Kong turf courses?
I enjoy the Hong Kong turf a lot. It is a lot firmer than the South African grass. They're two different types of grass as well. I mean, here it's a lot firmer, as I said. The South African one, you get you have rain and it'll go very soft. Whereas here, I mean, take example the monsoon we had 458 mils of rain, and we rode a few hours later, and the going was good, and it was a good track. It was maybe, in South Africa they would have said maybe good to firm, but the drainage on these tracks is amazing. But if I had to pick one, I would probably say Hong Kong.
Okay, let's move on, and we'll get through them because there are a few. Kirshen Pillay asked you to share your feelings and your emotions with us, particularly when you won the Met with Rainbow Bridge and your races on Malmoose. Kirshen Pillay wants you to share what your emotions when winning on those 2 horses.
Oh, Rainbow Bridge was very special. It's a bit hard to put into words. I mean, I got such a big opportunity like that from Mr. Sands, and you always think, it's in the back of your mind, you believe in yourself, but when you think about it, you think, but can it really be me? So when he did start to rocket home down the outside, and you look over your shoulder and you don't see anyone there, and you've got it wrapped up going to the 50. It's a bit hard to describe, but I mean, it'll sort of be I think the same feeling as walking on air.
And I think it must have been quite a feather in your cap that a trainer like Eric Sands, who can be super critical when he wants to be, to actually give you the opportunity to ride.
Yeah, it was. Just alone getting the opportunity, I thought was a huge achievement. Just to be sort of recognized by trainers that he can ride in the big races, and then obviously to deliver on it, it just put the cherry on the top, because then it changes the opinion of the trainers that you can give this kid Group 1 rides, and he can deliver on them. And then to back it up with Malmoose winning the Triple Crown was, it just added to the victory in the Met, where, I think it instilled more confidence in trainers, and it obviously boosted my confidence tremendously.
Lukey, moving on, Sean Anderson is asking us here to ask you about your grandfather. The question is, what did your grandfather teach you about horses and about racing? I mean, we could sit here for 2 hours and you could explain to us what he told you and taught you about racing, but it's rather say, due to time constraints, one or two of the most important things that your grandfather Orman taught you about racing.
Oh, if I had to put a sort of, like you said, we'll be sitting here for 2 hours, but sort of long story short, he instilled my foundation for my riding. He taught me all the ground rules, and basically just the foundation. And then once we had the foundation set, he started to get critical and start to tweak it a bit. But just about everything my grandfather taught me.
And then obviously your dad too. I mean, your dad and your whole family, Clifton, Spud, Peter, and Jenny, they were all just involved in racing. So I'm sure once, they all had something to do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think as Granddad's gotten older, he's his patience has gotten a bit longer, and he's definitely gotten more patient. Dad, I think he hasn't found that patience yet. I'm sure it will come, but
well, he's getting old now.
Critical. Yeah, he is. He's not getting any younger. But I'm getting a bit worried because, as you say, he's getting old and the patience hasn't come yet. But yeah, he was critical and he did help me.
Luke, Sean Anderson also asked the question: is it having your father there and been growing up in Hong Kong? It obviously was a big help opening the door, well, a few doors for you there.
With Dad being here, gives you the chances that are scarce in Hong Kong, and it allows me to show the trainers here what I can do, and I think that's what it all boils down to, is the chances. And if you've got someone that can put their trust in you, which my father has done, it's a big advantage.
Going to talking about your dad and your grandfather, and then being meticulous and hard men that want things done right and want things done properly. That's hence why they've been so successful around the world. And you say that your grandfather's got the patience now, but your dad, the patience hasn't come yet. But at the end of the day, I mean, as an obvious comment that I'm making, he only wants the very best for his horses, for his family, for yourself, and he is a good friend of all of us, and he's a man that you know exactly where you stand. There's no ulterior motives with him.
Yeah, for sure. Look, in saying that as well, I mean, Hong Kong, I think the best way to describe Hong Kong is just a pressure pot. And yes. No one remembers seconds. We run seconds. So there's a lot of stress that goes into it. So there's reason behind this short amount of patience.
Right, let's talk. There's just a few more questions that I'm just going onto the Instagram platform. In fact, that's. Let me just confirm with Tawanda. Tawanda, there was. I've just read up all the questions on the Facebook section. I see on Instagram there's no suggestions. Is there no other platforms? Is there? No other platforms. Okay. Let's talk about what's happening now currently. You've been there now. How many months?
I think 2 months, I think, or 3 months.
And winners?
4
winners. One which was just yesterday. We're recording on Thursday. Racing, of course, was at Sharton yesterday. Was Sharton.
Happy Valley.
My apologies. So 4 winners already, and good start. You happy with your start?
Yeah. Obviously, I'd always want to do better than what I'm doing, but looking at it, I don't think it's been a bad start. I think at the moment I'm sitting about midway on the log, and I think now the momentum's starting to pick up.
Luke, what do you do in your spare time? I mean, you're living on the 11th floor of an apartment. I mean, it's a lot of skyscrapers around you, and you're going to show us just now. We're going to ask you to tilt the camera as you did with us earlier on, just to show us a bit of your view and what you've got. But in your spare time, if there is such a thing, what are you doing? I mean, how do you keep entertained? Yes, you've got your family there. You go to restaurants. Are there entertainment parks? What do you do in your spare time?
Well, yeah. So 11A is my old home. I'm in a different apartment. I don't stay with Dad for obvious reasons. But in my spare time, there's a lot of great hikes in Hong Kong. As much as it looks like Legoland, there are a lot of great hikes. So keeping active as much as possible. Fortunately, the restaurants here are very good. So every now and then, when you can, it all depends on what weights I got coming up. But there is a lot to do in Hong Kong. I mean, during the summer, we're going into winter now, but during the summer, there's wakeboarding that you can rent boats out, and they take you out and go do water sports. The shopping malls here are fantastic, so you keep yourself entertained there. As I said, the hikes. There's a lot of bike trails. So yeah, it is easy to keep yourself entertained.
I didn't realize that you were in your own apartment. I thought you were still with mom and dad, and so you've got your own spot. Transportation? I mean, obviously mom and dad have got a vehicle, but I mean, do you have a vehicle there, or is public transport? I mean, to get to and from work, is it easy?
So the club gives jockeys cars when they get here, that they use. So each jockey here has a car that's provided to them by the club. But the public transport here is phenomenal. The trains, they run like clockwork, and they're always clean. The taxi and Uber services are also great. So you don't really need a car to get around. But we do have a car that is provided by the club.
Well, Luke, judging by that picture that you showed us out of the window there, you just need a parachute and you can go to work.
Yeah, it's very convenient being on site. There's a bit of traffic in a city like this, and it just helps when you're right by the track.
If you wouldn't mind then, Lukey, if you wouldn't mind to take your device or whatever you're talking to us on, and just show us exactly a little bit around the view, and so that the viewers that, and like myself and Andrew, who've never been there, can just see at least what you're looking at.
Yeah, so this is the back straight. So you obviously got your grass, your dirt track that you do pace work on and we race on. Then your smaller track, which is just for canters. And then Penfold Park, which turns into a dog park during the day. And there's a small trotting ring around it that also can go trotting. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. And then down this side is all the stables. So these are all the stables. I don't know if you can see, they double story stables. So the horses will walk up ramps to get to the top floor.
Sure.
And the stables on the bottom floor, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, so they've got ramps and there's the track there, Andrew, the back street. Okay, so they walk up ramps to get there. Okay, it's amazing. Just what did you say? You're pointing there on that now. You said something was, what is that building there near the grass track?
Which one?
You broke up as you were showing us. You said it turns into a car park, or it turns into
It's a dog park.
That building.
No, just below it.
To the right.
To the right.
There.
Yes, that. What's that?
Oh, so that's my apartment block. That one over there.
Yes.
And then that one over there is where sort of all the stipes and some vets stay.
Okay.
So that building there is where all the stipes stay, and the 2 other apartment blocks are trainers and jockeys.
Did you say something about a dog park? Andrew thought he heard you say dog park.
Oh no, Penford Park. So in the middle of the race course, I don't know if you can see that. In the middle of the race course, where all the trees are and all that.
Yes.
That is, it turns into a dog park, so people from outside the community can come and bring their dogs into the. Yeah, it's called Penford Park.
Okay.
So it turns into like a recreational ground today.
There's nothing wrong with my hearing.
So for 78, still there.
Yeah.
Lukey, well, all that's left for us, Andrew.
No, Luke, I want to ask you a few more questions. Yeah.
Watch out for me, like I talk too much, now he's talking more than me.
Yeah. Racing in Hong Kong is completely different to South Africa. We sort of run Wachabiki race and then sprint to the finish. How do you adapt from Hong Kong, well, from South Africa to Hong Kong?
Pace of the race.
I haven't found it too hard. I don't know if it's maybe because I've grown up watching it, so it's it was the first racing that I looked at. But I think for a proper sort of outside jockey, it would be a bit hard because it looks fast and it's faster when you ride, and there's no time to breathe when the gates open. You've got to get your spot very fast. You've got to be very sharp out the gates. But the more you do it, the more you adapt. It's a very different style of racing, but it's good.
Are those Hong Kong horses fitter than ours?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, because I was watching the breeders.
Look, they have to be. The pace of the races that are run, and the way they finish the races, they have to be. I mean, I think so. Yes. Yeah. No, I was watching the Breeders' Cup Sprint on the dirt there. I think the winner did the time in 54.7. I mean, that's flying for 5 furlongs. Yeah. That's very fast.
Keep going.
I don't know. We seem to have lost signal there. What? I finished with my questions. Yes.
Luke, we are dying. I don't know about Andrew. I don't know about all here. If he's dying to come to Hong Kong to come racing, but certainly I am, and my wife and I are definitely hoping to one day be able to get out there and come and experience it. So, how many bedrooms do you have in your apartment? Because we might need a place to stay.
Yeah. No, we got mine's a 3-bedroom apartment. I think just about all of them in the blocks here are 3 bedrooms.
So accommodation,
definitely space, but I mean there's no problem.
Yeah, very Len Ferner freebie going on the way here. It's no problem. Luke, I wanted to ask you about my mate Jared Samuel. Do you see him often at all?
Yeah, Jared rides. Yeah, he rides out for Dad in the mornings, and then I think he also works at the race meeting. So he's I see Jared a lot.
Does he still talk as much as he usually does?
Yeah.
No, give him my regards. He's a good lad.
Send him out very best.
I definitely will.
A good lad, like you are a good lad. He's a good lad and a good friend of ours, Jared. We wish him very well. And he's probably done the right thing, to go over there and get some experience. And really, we wish him all the very best, as we wish you all the very best. But send our best to Jared. I don't know how he's going to get as good, but I'm sure there's curry restaurants around the world. But he always talks to us about his homemade, wonderful Indian curries that I wonder if he's going to battle to find something that he really enjoys there, or curry restaurants all over the place. Did you get that last question, Lukey? We just battled with signal here for a moment.
No, sorry, I missed that.
I said he always enjoys this. He tells us and boasts about his homemade traditional Indian food and Indian curries and things. There obviously are, Indian restaurants in Hong Kong. I mean, will he still be able to get his fix on his curries?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's some great Indian restaurants here. So he'll have no problem getting them.
That's good news. We'll send him our best. And Luke, all that's left for Andrew and I to do is to wish you and your whole family really all the very best. We follow you guys with great interest. It's wonderful to be in communication with Dan and Mom on WhatsApp. And thanks for your time. And just keep flying our flag high for us. And we wish you all the best. And just lovely to touch base with you because we miss you here.
Thanks very much, Warren Andrews. It's great to be on the show. Thank you.
Lovely. That's all right. We'll ask you to disconnect. You happy to say goodbye to Luke?
Yeah, Luke, good. All the best. Keep firing because we follow you all the time. So you're flying the flag for us. Eh?
Yeah, thanks, Angie. We're trying.
Okay, Luke, all the best, brother. Thanks so much, James.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Bye-bye. Bye. Okay, so that's Luke then. I think he's logged off because your knowledge of technology and my knowledge of technology is not so good.
It's very dodgy.
Technology dodgy.
Dodgy, yeah.
Okay. Let's carry on. But he's just a wonderful kid. Speaks so beautifully. He was not a kid. He's a young man. But the whole family are just class and
yeah. Well, he's been brought up well. So and he went to a good school and yeah. So you expect him to be like that, and yeah, he's competitive, which is good. I mean, that's and he's a nice kid.
He certainly is. Okay, it's just you and I now.
Oh dear.
Another two nice kids. Not bad.
No.
Let's talk about some news. I see Cape Town, no jab, no racing. What's your opinion on that?
Well, there's no one goes, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the right way.
I don't know. I haven't been to Cape Town race meeting for a long time, but I know. But especially midweek, there's hardly anybody there.
Yeah, it's we've been having, thankfully, and I think it's kudos to the different.
Yeah, but we got people who like racing. I mean, they like to be on course.
They like to be on course, and I just it's going to be a problem, with the no jab, no racing, because there are some anti-vaxxers out there.
There are plenty of anti-vaxxers. I was listening to the ACDP. I mean, the political party, they anti vaccination. So I don't know how they're going to resolve the whole sort of situation.
What happens if there's a trainer or a jockey or an owner or anybody who needs to be at the races and he or she's an anti-vaxxer? If you're a trainer and you're an anti-vaxxer, you can't train anymore.
I'll settle.
Okay, so that's going to be interesting to see how that all unfolds. Queen Supreme was sold to Australia.
Yeah, what price did she get? I don't know.
Big money.
It was a big money. Yeah, well, she's very well bred.
Telephone numbers, that's what I'm doing now. Summer Cup is coming up at the end of the month. I'm not going to ask you just in case you have a weak moment. You're not going, are you?
How am I supposed to get there? They don't take bottle tops to pay for airplane flights.
So I'll be going.
Well, lots of bottle tops.
Yeah, I'm sure you have, but lots of bottle tops. But I'll be going to the Summer Cup this year, which I'm looking forward to. It's always a good day's racing.
Yeah.
That's on the 27th of November.
November, right. Yeah, in the old days, we used to get flown up there and hotel rooms and free brews and bloody lovely food. Now they don't even know you exist, so it's,
Okay, so Andrew's not going. I certainly am. Lots of action because the weekend before that is the Bloodstock South Africa sale in Joburg. So there's the sale the weekend before in Joburg, and then there's obviously the sale, at least the weekend after is the Summer Cup. So lots of action.
Yeah, I was having a perusing the catalogue. There's some nice horses there. Well, nice pedigrees anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, unfortunately, Thabisa Gumede took a nasty fall the other day. And yeah, it's absolutely something that
it's a bit of an ego crusher, I was funny enough at Ashburton this morning. Hendrik, I don't know, forget what his surname is. Hendrik, but he broke his femur, and he decided that's it, not going to ride anymore. He couldn't take it, so he's just working out his matric at the academy. And he said no, he's not riding again. He says he's going to become a farrier. I think he weighs about 44. So
that you mentioned that, and I think let's touch on it because and just give me a moment to gather my thoughts on how we can. I've since been to the hospital to see Thabiso because, as you know, my wife and I sponsor him. So he's a very special person to us, as he is to the racing industry and as he is to many that love him. He wasn't in a happy space, he was obviously cross that this had happened, and there are a lot of emotions running around. And yeah, you've got to make that decision. I mean, it's hard for us to say, and I'm not going to say, but you've got to decide whether you can bounce back. I mean, I remember I had a horrific car accident many, many years ago.
And you haven't bounced back. It obviously affected your brain.
And I didn't want to drive. I said, no, I'd rather somebody else can drive me. And then I got back.
Yeah, now you drive like a lunatic.
Now I'm back in the business.
Yeah, I know, but I mean,
it's up to each individual how they handle it.
No, sure, but I mean, with a bit of counselling and a bit of help, I mean, hopefully you'll get back to you. And I think once it's time will heal it, and if he gets a bit of help, I'm sure Duncan will help him. I think he'll come right again.
I think he will, and he certainly has. And we heard Jason Gates' story. Jason Gates, by his own admittance, said that he was a bit of a boogamina, knew everything, and he got knocked down to size, and he's taken a different approach, and he's flying.
Yeah.
And Thabiso is every human has a different personality, has a different outlook, and yeah, when you speak to him, he can come across as a little bit brash, but he's actually not.
No, but I mean, if you're going to be a jockey, you have to have a bit of an attitude. Otherwise, you're never going to make it anyway.
That's also true. And the point is, he's been operated on. It was a severe break. He's been operated on, and he's going to be out of action for a little while. And yeah, he's just got to get over, with the help of his friends, and with the help of his family, and with the help of the academy. He's going to need some help and advice, because it is, as I said to him the other day at the hospital, it's normal for him to be angry. It's normal for him to be a bit sour. It's normal for him to be a bit nervous. I mean, it would happen to all of us. It's one of those things. But I have no doubt that Thabiso Bomele will be back in the saddle in the near future. And fabulous rider, absolutely fabulous rider. And as I said to him the other day, he's just lucky that he's got so many people around him that are there to push him through and help him. Promotions. Big win. See how it's written there, big win. Congratulations to our Soccer 10 winner. There was a gentleman, or it was a gentle lady, I'm not sure, who won the Soccer 10 bet, 150,660 Rand for a spend of 24 Rand. Why can't they? I was going to say, why can't they happen to us? But I suppose we don't take soccer.
But you think they got wickets in soccer, so
soccer is that, we all know soccer is that game where you take that green ball and hit it over the net, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
So well done to the gentleman or the gentle lady who won 150,660 Rand for only 24 Rand for a Soccer 10 bet. Plenty of money to be made. Carryovers this weekend. The net carryover is 620,000 for Saturday, the 13th of November, 2021. So get your bets. What? Soccer bets.
Oh, that's soccer. Okay, soccer.
And I think all that's left for us to do is to give can we remember what our selections were last week? I can't remember what happened yesterday, never mind last week. Yes, I fancied Duncan's horse in the first race.
Good rolled.
Not a place.
Mine won.
What was yours?
Gorgeous masterpiece.
Gordy's masterpiece.
I don't know, but it was 6-10, so it wasn't difficult.
Andrew, short price winners better than the long price.
Yeah.
But anyway, my one unfortunately never hit the board. Andrew's won. One. So that's it. 1-0 is the score, but that's racing. And as to one that takes a slow, have you seen that before? He likes a lot of water, so he drinks his water.
Drinks out of a coffee jar.
He drinks a lot of water. I asked him that before. I said, why do you drink your water out of a coffee jar? He said, because I like lots of water, and this is the biggest thing that I can find, to drink lots of water.
Okay.
You've got to drink lots of water. That's why he's so skinny.
Maybe I should try.
Yeah. Oh. Less beer, more water.
There was lots of water in beer.
Okay. Now, so have you got a one for the public?
Yeah, I was thinking Sunday, there's that last race, the 8th race. I think it's going to be a bit of a cracker. Okay. There's some smart fillies in there, and I think reputations will be made and broken there.
Okay.
October Song, Humdinger, Ethiopian Queen,
yes.
Heart something. I think it was Snaith's. 8th race. Yeah. So I think that'll be a good race. And then you got Wayne and Barbara. They've got those two unbeaten ones. Yeah, they both beat the same horse first time out.
And so just to let you know that horse in the 8th race is called 3 Hearts.
3 Hearts, okay.
And also to let the public know that Cold Hard Cash runs in the 7th race for us. And he's doing well. We think he'll run a cracker.
Yeah, but I would prefer if it was on the poly.
Yeah, me too. But the program allows you to, you've got to go with the program. But the fact of the matter is he's fit and well, and we think he's going to run a cracker. Those 2 horses of the Barton Horse Kennedy combination is Magic in Motion and Brew of Ice.
Right.
They were both impressive. But,
they both started at long odds, which is quite strange. But I see Tristan's gone for Brew of Ice, so I don't know if he got the boot from the other one or he had a choice, but I've gone with Tristan, yeah. I've gone with Groove Ice.
Okay. Well, then those are just a couple of horses that we're telling you that you keep an eye out for. We're not going to give you best bets or value bets or whatever it is. Those are the horses that Andrew and I have touched on. Keep an eye out for them and just hope that you have a profitable day's racing. Well, that's a wrap from all of us. I think next week we'll be back at Summerfeld. I missed our breakfast this morning.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah, Luke's fault, you see.
Yeah, I know.
In fact, we could have done this at Summerfeld because you could do this anyway.
I had an omelette last week. I just must say, Anya did a bloody fine job.
She did do a good omelette. She does do a good omelette out of the Summerfeld clubhouse. But I've got to be careful when I eat now because I'm on Weight Watchers.
Of course.
Weight Watchers. And judging by the size of your tank, you've got no problem.
I've got no problem.
You've got no problem.
I've got to keep my weight up.
What else can I needle you about? Everything okay in the office?
Yeah, everything's fine. I had to have a bloody dig in the grave.
Shave,
haircut.
Are you either going for a job interview or you're going on a date? One of the two.
No. I just wasting shampoo.
Okay, I think that's a wrap from us. But next week we'll be back at Shongweni Summerfeld at the clubhouse because I believe that we're trying to line up this new young presenter, Rahil Radhakrishna, to be our guest so that the viewers can find out a bit more about him and who he is and how he got to where he is. What are your thoughts on the young man?
Yeah, we wind him up.
We're going to wind him up. Yeah, he's not a bad form stay.
I don't know.
Don't you pay attention when you're not at the race?
I switch to the races. I watch the race. I switch off. I don't want to listen to idiots like you.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, that's... well, who needs, what's that saying? Who needs enemies with friends?
Yeah, well, I'll tell it like it is, eh? Don't worry, you all right.
Okay, that's a wrap from us then for the In the Box Seat podcast. We'll be back next week, I'm sure, with Rahil Radhakrishna. If not, we'll be having a guest for you. Don't you worry about that. We thank you for being with us, and I want to put out there, thank you for your comments, thank you for the likes and all those wonderful things that you do for us. I just want to know from all of you, what is the most interesting thing that you found out through that interview with Luke, about Luke? What is I want to know from the viewers and from the punters and our supporters, and we've got supporters. Just before we end, can you believe?
What? We've got a supporter.
We've got a few non-supporters.
I know.
Believe that, thankfully, we've got a fabulous team behind the scenes that monitor our Facebook, monitor our Instagram, because I'll always say we don't want negativity, we don't want hatred speech, or what does that say?
Hate speech.
Hate speech. We don't want any of that. We don't want any personal attacks. Constructive criticism, I have people phoning me, I have people emailing me. Constructive criticism, that we welcome with absolute pleasure. Only a pleasure. But personal attacks we will not tolerate. Thank goodness we've got a team that are on the ball. The moment there's a personal attack, boom, delete, block.
So how many have they deleted?
Quite a few.
Oh, really?
It is more positive than negative.
No.
And the point I'm trying to make is that you just get some it saddens me because
there's some twisted people out there.
I want to go onto a public platform and say, for argument's sake, Tawanda was being interviewed. I would never want to go onto a public platform and write there, Tawanda is useless, get rid of him, he's got no idea, he shouldn't be in a job. I wouldn't want to say that in a public platform because why would you want to hurt that person and harm his livelihood? Yeah,
but there's a lot of people out there just twisted. I mean, it's just the way they are. So they're probably unhappily married or something like that.
So to those of you that always send in happy, positive, constructive vibes, and we thank you. For those of you that try and be nice, because one never knows when life can be taken away from us, and you never know when your last opportunity might be to be nice to that person. So thanks for your comments and thanks for your feedback. So please write into us and tell us what it is you enjoyed most, or what it is the most interesting thing you learned from the interview with Luke. And maybe what you'd like to hear from our next guest. But Tawanda will put up a post about that, as he did with Luke. So that's a wrap from us. It's been a wonderful podcast. Lovely to see Luke. He's looking well. He's looking fit and well.
He's looking well. We should have asked him for a winner, though.
Oh, well, that wasn't really the intention.
Well, he could have helped us out.
The view of the podcast has changed a bit. It's not, as you can see, it's in the hot seat, in the box seat rather. And we don't really go through race by race anymore. It's not a tipping show. It's more of an information magazine show where we do talk about the horses, as we just have a few horses to keep an eye out for. But we should have asked him for a winner, but we'll follow him with great interest. From Andrew Harrison, Warren Linferno, Luke Ferarris, Tawanda Talavinga, and the whole team behind the scenes, we look forward to seeing you and meeting you at our regular slot next Thursday. And we'll see you in the interim in the number 1 box.
Thank you.